see. Are we on? Can you see us? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Let us know. There we go. Okay. We're on. All right. Now we're good. Now we're on.
So I guess it was working.
Oh, yeah. There was a little bit of a delay there. Okay. So we're cool. We're ready to go. So hi, everyone. It looks like there's only a couple of us in here right now, but tonight we are making pasta, which we eat a lot of in our house. And we're going to be making some penne. We wanted to make this with rigatoni, but we didn't have any. So you could use really any kind of pasta that you want.
These are penne rigate.
Penne rigate. So little penne. We're going to use turkey kielbasa or kielbasa. How do you pronounce that? It's kielbasa spelled that way, but it's
spelled kielbasa, but everyone says kielbasa.
Not sure.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, we're using turkey kielbasa, some mushrooms, and some Romanesco, which is basically like a hybrid of broccoli and cauliflower. So that's what we're going to use tonight, and we're going to make some yummy pasta.
Yep.
Okay. So, first things first, we have our water boiling, or we have it starting to boil at this point. It hasn't started just yet, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit higher here to get that going. This is something that's going to be super easy and fast to make because turkey kielbasa is already cooked.
Pre-cooked.
It's pre-cooked, so you're going to
We're just browning it, basically. So I'm actually going to start with the turkey kielbasa because after that's browned up, we're going to set it aside. We're going to cook up our veggies, and after our veggies are cooked up, then we are going to be able to create our sauce from there. So turkey kielbasa is always going to come in link form. Kielbasa is Polish. We like kielbasa. It has a nice bit of bite. The skin has a nice bit of crunch. It browns up very nicely. It's great on the grill in the summer. It's great in a pasta, sautéing it. It's really just a tasty protein overall. So for this dish, I'm just going to slice it up into just about, so they're going to be about the size of a quarter. I don't know what euro size that would be. And they're going to be about a quarter of an inch thick. It's a nice size piece because any thinner than that, it's going to be a little bit flimsy. Any thicker is going to be almost too meaty. And I prefer the slices whenever we're eating it. Slices, or sometimes we'll even slice them in half.
To be perfectly honest, I see that Anastasia had said she's never heard of it before.
Of kielbasa?
Of kielbasa.
Oh, okay.
Normally you're going to find it, I guess it would be beef, right?
Yeah, well, it'll come in all different varieties of protein. We use turkey because we don't need a lot of beef. But it's in the sausage family. It is particularly a Polish kielbasa. And it's like a sausage. It's just not going to have any of the seasoning inside. So you're not going to have the fennel. You're not going to have salt and pepper. You're just going to have the whatever the protein is inside, and then inside the casing.
It kind of tastes like a hot dog.
It definitely has that hot dog kind of taste, that hot dog kind of texture. We thoroughly enjoy it. Kielbasa is probably one of my favorite types of sausage. It's right up there with chorizo.
And like we've said before, we don't eat a whole lot of red meat or pork in this house. We kind of gave it up a couple of years ago. So when we do have meat, we have poultry, chicken, turkey, and we have seafood. We have a lot of fish. But we don't really cook with beef or pork anymore. Jimmy will eat it sometimes, but we don't really prepare it. Like if we're ordering food somewhere, he might get it, but we don't really have it in the house anymore. But this is really tasty. So you could substitute it with a sausage that you like at home. You could do it with a pork sausage. You could do it with a beef sausage. You could really do it with whatever you have. But today we had some produce that we just wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
So we're just going to make pasta.
Yeah, it's a great way. A lot of times we'll make this sausage pasta and it's sausage and whatever vegetable we have around. So we happen to have 2 different kinds of mushrooms. One is to be quite honest, I don't even remember what kind of mushrooms they are.
I don't remember what they are
it's
either.
a mushroom medley. We got them from Misfits Market. We have 2 different mushroom medleys. Any mushroom will work, so if you have a preference on mushroom, Baby Bellas always go well with everything. I tend to like to get whatever kind of funky mushroom we can find. They add just a nice texture, and they're pretty meaty. And then Romanesco is something we love to eat. It's just delicious. It is, like Sally was saying, it's a cross between broccoli and cauliflower, and it's just...
Yeah, you might actually hear it be called Romanesco broccoli or Romanesco cauliflower. People use it kind of interchangeably, and it's a little bit, like we said, like almost like a hybrid between the two. It has more of a texture, kind of looks a little bit more like a cauliflower, I guess, than broccoli, but it's basically the combination of the two. It's a little bit lighter in color than traditional broccoli. It's kind of like a lighter green, but it tastes pretty much the same. Kind of like both of them put together, so it can't go wrong. We eat a lot of broccoli and cauliflower in this house too.
We certainly do.
So you could totally make a meal like this over rice if you wanted to.
Absolutely. You could leave out the kielbasa.
Yep, make a vegetable kind of
just
pasta.
make a vegetable pasta, which we do plenty of as well.
We do a lot of that in the house, and we try to make different things. But we wanted to get rid of some of the things that we have in the fridge right now, so that's what we decided to make tonight. And we haven't had pasta in...
Since the last time we cooked it on the show.
Oh, I guess, Well,
technically you made stuffed shells last
night. I
I
made frozen stuffed shells last night with jar sauce. He works really late on Thursday, so I was like, I don't feel like prepping from the get-go, and with the baby at home, it's a little harder to do, so I made something that I literally had to put in a tray, pour jarred sauce on top of, put it in the oven, and it's done 45 minutes later, so that's good to go. But tonight, a little bit more home cooking.
So, I did a last-second audible. I decided to slice the... Turn it around, man.
I thought I had it off. Sorry.
So, I decided to slice the kielbasa in half, just because then it's going to feel like more in the dish itself.
And you'll get more with each bite.
So, no seasoning necessary for this. I'm just taking my sliced kielbasa and throwing it right into the pan. I'm going to turn up the heat to about medium-high, because I'm just looking to brown the kielbasa, just to get a little...
You're going to do the kielbasa first.
I'm going to do the kielbasa first because, as I was saying before, I'm going to make the sauce afterwards using all the vegetables. And sometimes I like to cook the protein first just because you're going to get some of those juices in before we start cooking everything else down.
And you don't have to worry about cross-contamination.
Yeah, it's pre-cooked, so it doesn't matter if anything gets on my surface. I'm going to give it a wipe down. But, again, it is pre-cooked, so it is safe.
Okay, so, like we said, I'm not sure what type of mushrooms these are. We get our produce from Misfit Markets, which is like an online distributor of organic produce, and we get our box every other week, and you can choose what you want to get inside, but they always have really fun, funky mushrooms, so I think we just decided to try these. And
I tend to hit, if I don't know the name, if I don't recognize it, I'll usually just try it.
We're adventurous like that. We like mushrooms. We put mushrooms in a lot of dishes here.
I haven't met a mushroom I haven't liked thus far, so tend to roll with that.
Yeah. So this is starting to kind of sizzle up here. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir around just so that it doesn't start to stick to the bottom of the pan, but looks like it's doing okay right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty easy going. It's cooked. You just don't want to burn it, but you want to get a nice crisp to it. So I'm going to take an onion now, slice it in half. Again, as always, you're looking for the hairy side. That side you're going to leave intact. The opposite side is what you're going to be cutting off so that we can keep our onion into nice slices. So I'm going to hack off that other end. Now I'm going to be able to peel off this onion.
Just got the pun there, TV. Appreciate it. Said you guys are peeling it.
Very nice.
Good.
Very nice. So, peeling off this onion. When you're peeling an onion, I used to have an issue with this, knowing how far I need to go. You just want to make sure that you're getting rid of the skin. So there's the obvious skin that's on the outside that is a different shade. So you'll know to peel that off. And then underneath it, you're actually going to find this little layer that almost is like it's underskin. It probably has a technical name that I don't know. But it's going to be silky and sort of smooth. A little bit thicker, but it has this sort of smoother texture. So you just want to make sure you get rid of that. If you end up peeling an extra layer of the onion, it's not a big deal. So both of our onions are peeled. And now we're going to be able to dice these up. So for this recipe, I'm going to be dicing these onions. So to dice them, I'm going to slice them along the ridges that are already within the onion. So I'm going to slice it going down, just going across along the ridges, and they're going to be about 1/4 inch apart. So when I do this, I want to make sure that I leave it together with that hairy end. So it's going to hold the onion together for me and make my slicing easy. I'm going to place my palm on top, and I'm going to slice it across the center with 2 cuts, 3 if it was a larger onion. In this case, it's the medium to large, so I'm only going to use the 2. I'm going to do the same for the other one, so I'm slicing along the lines in the onion. Placing my palm on top and then making 2 cuts across. And you just want to keep the onion together. It's going to make your slices easier. So now, using my claw, I'm just going to be able to slice down into small dices. So my pieces are going to end up nice and tiny, less than the size of a dime. And this is going to be a dice of the onions.
Yeah, and these are actually starting to brown up already. Like we said, this is already pre-cooked, so it really doesn't take a whole lot to kind of heat this up. Sometimes we like to eat this with like mac and cheese, or you can eat it definitely with like a potato, or you can make it like a sausage and pepper sandwich. They're pretty versatile, and they're, like we said, so easy because the job is done for you.
Getting a little emotional here.
Getting emotional over the kielbasa.
So I find to stop myself from tearing when I am slicing an onion, if I wash the knife and there's a little bit of liquid on that, it's going to stop a little bit of the tearing from me. And I'm going to be able to dice up this other half of the onion. Again, since I have that hairy end there, it's holding the onion together, and each of my cuts now is slicing up the whole of the onion into nice dices. Then at the very end, you're left with just this little tiny nub, which in fact, I can come down across.
I'm actually going to lower this heat.
And I've used all the onions, so I haven't wasted anything.
Oh, we got a raid. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hi, Soul on Fire 17. Thank you. We are making some penne with turkey kielbasa and mushrooms and onions. So really super easy, quick meal.
Yeah. I think that's our first raid, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we got one the last episode. I can't remember.
I'm not sure, but
thank you anyway.
Nonetheless, very cool. Appreciate it. All right, next up I'm going to dice up this Romanesco. So before I do that, you're going to see it kind of looks like a cabbage with the stems on the opposite side. So I'm just going to peel those off.
These are already looking pretty brown.
Yeah.
A little bit longer?
Yeah, just a touch longer. So as you can start to see, they're starting to brown up a little bit. And you're getting a little bit of that char on it. Not quite all of them have a char, so we're going to give it a little bit longer. And these are pretty forgiving.
Smells really good.
It's going to smell like very fragrant, and you're going to get that sausage smell starting to come off of them. So I'm just going to let them sit.
Thanks for the compliment about our aprons. We got these on Etsy this past week, so we're happy with them. I told you I would find out the name of the store. I think it was Fresh Mood. I looked it up too, and now I don't remember again. I will get you that name.
So I just peeled off the leaves along the outside of the Romanesco. This is going to be ready to chop up in just a moment. Once the kielbasa is done, I'm going to add the onions and start sauteing those down. After that, I'm going to add the Romanesco because that's going to take a little bit of time to cook down. Although it's going to be delicious, so if it has a little bit of crunch to it, it's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
The mushrooms I'm going to put in at the end because they're going to cook through nicely.
And we pre-rinsed all of this, so you want to make sure that you rinse your produce too. Even if it is organic like this, you still want to rinse it off.
I mean, the more organic it is, you might find a little creepy critter on there.
That's true.
It's so fresh.
That's true.
So for this Romanesco, we have the stem here. I'm just going to start by slicing the bulk of the stem off, and then I can start to peel them off, like so. And I'm going to want to cut off those stems so that I have nice chunks, or I can just start to slice into it. And you're peeling off these little sprouts. So this is going to look more broccoli-esque.
Yeah.
In that you have these little sprouts.
Let me ask you, do you think it would be better to pre-season those? Are you going to pre-season them before you put them in, or are you going to season as they're
I'm
cooking?
going to pre-season. I like to pre-season just about everything.
Yeah.
I think the more seasoning, the better.
Yeah, it'll give it time to kind of marinate in whatever you're going to put it into.
Yeah. So again, as I'm slicing, I'm just starting to take off little bits of that stem. Some of this is just going to do the work for me, so if I can peel them back, that makes my life a little bit even easier. But I don't want to take too much of the stem off. They are fibrous, but the most fibrous parts are going to be at the very bottom.
Yeah,
so these are going to be too fibrous, almost inedible. I'd have to peel it down and then slice it. But these pieces right here are going to be just tasty.
Yeah, it's going to be more like broccoli.
Yeah, so it has that broccoli sort of look as you get down. It just has these ridges, these almost like little mini pyramids going down.
I'm going to hold off putting the pasta in, since we have a little bit of time to kind of cook everything else. I don't want the pasta to just be sitting there and kind of cooking after it's been cooked. We don't want it to be too soft, so I'm just going to turn down this heat on this for now, and once we're ready, I'll salt the water and have the pasta, but we'll give it some time.
So, just breaking down the last bits of this Romanesco. We have them into nice pieces. We got a bowl ready to mix these up. What's on, Meatball?
I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can kind of get a peek of him. Come here, buddy. This is our buddy Meatball.
Good boy. Come here.
Our dogs like to hang out in the kitchen with us because they think they're going to get a
Good
treat.
boy. Let's drink it. Sit.
There's Meatball and Rigatoni.
That's 2 for 1.
Can you see them? Those are our babies. Those are our good babies.
The fresh boy is not here right now.
No, he's over here. Our fresh old man is over here too. He's waiting for food to drop.
So I'm going to break down these pieces of Romanesco into small, bite-sized pieces. They're going to cook down a little bit, and I also want to make sure they're cooking down evenly. So anytime you're cooking a vegetable, you want to make sure they're the same size. So this piece is going to be too big. If I'm going to get them to these small pieces, I'm going to need to quarter the rest of these pieces, just so that they're all at the same size. So that means they're going to have the same cooking time.
Yes, our dogs are named after pasta. I think we went over that before on the show that our dogs are named after food. So we have a Meatball and we have a Rigatoni. And like I said, we wanted to make Rigatoni tonight and then realized that we didn't have any, so we're using Penne instead. But we eat a lot of Rigatoni.
We do. That's why she was our choice pasta name.
Yeah, because we actually thought about naming her Penne also.
We had Meatball first, so there was a moment where we thought about naming her Spaghetti.
Yeah.
That's a little too on the nose.
It was just a little bit.
But we have made the agreement that all male dogs will be named after Italian meats, and the females will be named after pasta.
After pasta.
Just kind of has a nice ring to it.
We have a lot of dogs in our family. We're a big pit bull family. We love pitties and love to rescue dogs. And so my parents have a couple of dogs themselves. They actually have 4. And
just a couple.
Yeah, they actually have 3 of their dogs named after food as well. So they have a calzone, they have Olive, and they have Cannoli. And Cannoli is the puppy to our little Rigatoni.
So nice connection.
Nice connection.
Yeah, one of my friends has one of Rigatoni's puppies.
Mm-hmm.
They just had their baby.
Oh,
yeah,
good
baby.
Oh, good for them. So, yeah, we are big pitty advocates of this house. We love rescue animals. We adopt our dogs from this amazing rescue organization in Brewster, New York called SNAR, Special Needs Animal Rescue and Rehabilitation. If you follow us on Instagram, you can follow the dogs page. It's at 3 Spicy Pups, and you could see their stories and see pictures of them. They're really cute.
Yeah, they really are. All right, so my Romanesco is all diced up, all sliced to equal sized portions. Now I'm just going to add a little extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to be pretty generous with this. Again, I never measure, but I would guesstimate to say that this is about a tablespoon.
Yeah, a tablespoon.
I like to use, you could pour right into the bottle. We have this fun little non-break container.
I have broken many olive oil containers. If they are glass and they're in this house, they will break. So that's why we decided to use that little steel one. I'm very clumsy, so that's all you need to know about that.
So and I had that tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to salt and pepper generously. I'd say about a teaspoon of each.
We took the kielbasa off of the flame right now. That's already pretty cooked, so while
We're going to
he's
set it
setting,
aside in a moment.
yeah, while he's using all of that, we'll leave that to the side. We don't want it to brown up too much and burn.
So just salt and pepper, generously done. We give this a quick toss. So if you want to tell if it's seasoned enough, you could eat one of these pieces, or you could just take your finger. I'm eating this with Sally, so I don't care if I'm touching it. You could use a spoon as well. You just want to touch the seasoning on the side, so you could either take your finger, that's good, or you could be more hygienic and use a spoon. And you'll be able to tell if it's seasoned enough.
And no, I don't throw the olive oil containers. I usually just bump into them. We have this little ledge here, and I used to leave the decorative olive oil bottles out because they were just pretty. And while I was cooking, and I would turn or bump into it, or the dog would hit me in the leg, and I'm just clumsy. Just clumsy.
I mean, it happens. Having it in the corner there probably wasn't the best on our part.
Yeah.
All right, so Romanesco, ready. I'm going to set that aside. I added about a tablespoon of olive oil, and now I'm going to throw my onions right in there.
We'll let those start cooking up a little bit.
The onions are going to go in at about medium to low heat. Again, onions, you want to give them some time to cook down. The more time you give them, the sweeter the flavor they get. You're going to salt and pepper. You always want to salt and pepper your ingredients as they go in.
I have to say, I like an onion that is a little bit softer. I like a bite to certain vegetables, but onions are not one of those that I prefer to be crunchy. I like them to be kind of soft and caramelized. So those are going to cook a little bit here.
I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of butter. We like to use the tubs of butter. They're just easier to serve. We use them with olive oil and sea salt. We just find that they taste a little bit better. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon
of butter. They're probably
butter.
Better for you. I don't know if that's true, but...
I mean, mentally they're better for us. So I'm going to add that in and just let this all dance around together in our pan.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
We're going to give that a minute.
Yeah.
Quite a few minutes, actually.
Yeah. We'll give this some more time. I'm not going to add the pasta. Like I said, I'm going to let it kind of ride out for a little bit. We want these to wilt down before... they're going to take a couple minutes, so we want to let that kind of do its job, and then we'll add the pasta, because pasta cooks so quickly. Like we said, we really don't want to eat that super mushy. You want to... Hey, can I try some? Thanks.
You always want to taste as you're going.
Yeah.
If you're cooking, you always want to be tasting as you're going. So while our onions are sauteing down, we're going to add garlic to this in a little bit. We're going to add our mushrooms. We add some crushed red pepper because we like everything with a little bit of heat. And then we're going to be using white wine as our base for our sauce today. So I have a whole clove of garlic here. Easiest way to break it down is you could use your fingers just to peel off a couple of the cloves. So I have the whole bunch. We always write a ratio when we write how much garlic to use because we prefer a good amount.
We like a lot.
So we do... I say 3 to 5, so I would say 3 is on your low end, 5 is on your vampire killing end. In this case, these are a nice size. Cloves, actually that's actually 2. So I am going with 5. I was going to be modest and go with 4, but this is actually going to be 5.
It's all right. When we first started dating and we started talking about different foods that we like, we both knew off the bat that we liked garlic and that we wouldn't offend each other if we ate a lot of food with garlic, and we like to cook with it. So works in our favor that we both like it.
It certainly does. All right. So let's get ready to slice up this garlic. So to break the garlic, you're going to place it down on your cutting board. It doesn't matter what side it's laying on because you're going to take your knife and press it on top, ball up your fist, and give it a nice pat down. It's going to break the skin off so that you're left with just the garlic clove itself. You could press really hardly or hit it really hardly to kind of smash it and let out some of the juices. Which, if I was throwing in whole cloves of garlic, I would want to smash it the whole way. But in this case, I'm going to be dicing up the garlic, so I just want to be able to get the skin off. So just a couple of light taps, and the skin will actually peel right off. It's quite convenient.
It is. We actually have this really wonderful garlic slicing tool that I love.
With the tool and the depeeler.
Oh yeah, this is a depeeler. You could just put it right inside, and you give it like a little rub like this, and inside it has these little like bumps, and it takes the skin right off. So you could use that.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
an
just
easy way to do it.
Silicone. You just place the garlic clove inside, and then you just roll it out.
You can hear the paper kind of coming off, or the skin rather.
And it slides right out, and there you go. You have your skin removed.
So that's fun.
Either way works. This makes me feel a little more chefy, so I prefer to do this.
You see this on the cooking show, so we like to do it this way. I think you could. I think we found those little silicone ones on Amazon.
We found those on Amazon. My mom had gotten them for us from
Pampered Chef.
Pampered Chef. I don't know. I think you have to have them at like a Pampered Chef party.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can buy that online too.
But as always, you can find everything on Amazon, or you could go. You could look somewhere local. Maybe you have a little chef's store by you. You can even find it maybe at a local grocery or food mart.
These are starting to mellow out. These look good. Mm-hmm.
So we can tell they're starting to mellow out because their color has started to change, and they're going to start to get nice and translucent. So you can see how they started off as more of that harsh white, and now they're that opaque, almost yellow in tint. You can smell the difference when they're really starting to cook down, which is wonderful and delicious.
Bottle it up. I love that.
Bottled up. All right, so let's cut up these garlic cloves. So the garlic cloves are going to be just like the onions. So, this way.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have a hairy end, but they'll have an end that you can see connects the whole garlic clove together. So we're going to cut it in the same way that we cut our onions. There aren't going to be the lines for you to guide you, but you are going to cut it into little slices. So I use the big chef's knife for everything, but if you're more comfortable, you could use a smaller knife. These ceramic knives are wonderful. They're super sharp, so be careful, but they do give you a little bit more mobility when you're slicing.
Or you can do what I do and use this little slicing mechanism thing that we have where you just put the cloves in and you press down on them and you spin the top and it makes these really thin slices of garlic. That's the way I like to do it because I don't like to cut.
Also, slicing them this way, your fingers are going to smell like garlic.
That's true.
It's a given. You're not going to be able to get away with it. But garlic's good for you.
I honestly love
garlic's good for you.
I do, and if you have like a nice big chunk of garlic that's been like cooking and like really getting soft with onions, I like to eat garlic whole like that. And actually, I don't know if any of you have ever tried. Stop. We need that for dinner. I don't know if any of you have ever tried, but pickled garlic is really, really good too. You could eat them like candy.
Yeah, I actually have some olives stuffed with garlic and jalapenos. All right, so I have taken these garlic cloves and I've sliced them long ways, so you can see I could fan them out a little bit now. And now I'm going to do the same that I did with the onions. I'm going to come across those slices. So now that I've sliced long ways, now I've sliced across that, perpendicular. And now I'm just going to come down in little slices. And this is going to be a nice dice of the garlic. The slicing that Sally was talking about using the mechanism that we have, the tool, is nice because it's going to cut them into thin slices.
They'll be super thin.
The dicing is nice as well. With garlic, unless you're really slow roasting it, you want to cut it down into small bits so that it does have that opportunity to cook down and release into the sauce. Whole cloves of garlic that are uncooked are a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
In their flavor.
Yeah. Now you said, so first we were going to cook these onions down, and then we were going to add the Romanesco, right?
Yeah, because that's going to take a little while to cook down, so I think we're ready
for that. Yeah, I'm going to add that in. Like we said, we had pre-seasoned this already with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and kind of coated everything evenly. And now that our onions look like they're starting to wilt and get pretty soft, we're gonna add this to get cooked down too. And we'll add the garlic and the mushrooms later because they don't take very long to cook up at all.
Yeah, the garlic's going to cook down very quick, so that's going to be one of the last things I add prior to adding the white wine, which is going to be the base of our sauce.
And also, too, sometimes when I'm cooking, if I want a veggie to kind of cook a little bit faster, you could always just put the lid on top and kind of let it steam through, but just make sure that it doesn't burn on the bottom, so you want to make sure that your flame isn't that high when you do something like that.
You could always add a little water to get them that way.
Mm-hmm.
You could blanch the vegetables first. That would absolutely work. I try to avoid blanching just because you're going to lose a lot of the flavor when you blanch
the nutrients.
And the nutrients, yeah. So I'd rather, take the time to pan roast it or saute it just because you're going to maintain more of that flavor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so garlic is ready to go. That's going to be going later. We're going to take our mushrooms, which maybe afterwards I'll go ahead and Google what these were or look at my misfit order. So the mushrooms, we're going to use the whole mushroom. I've already washed them down. And
if anybody knows, tell us. I think these are these oyster mushrooms?
They could be.
It looks like an oyster
That would make
mushroom.
sense because it has
that kind of shape.
The shape of an oyster.
I think that's what those are. Maybe I'll Google it.
Let
me take a look. Let me see.
So I'm just going to do a rough chop of the mushrooms, which just means I am just hacking away. Now, you don't want to necessarily hack, but I am just going to slice away a little bit and just get them into equal-sized parts. I'm using the stems for this.
I think we were right.
Right?
Oyster. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to use the stems and all just because they're going to cook out nicely. A lot of times we'll just use one container of mushrooms, but in this case we wanted to go a little bit hearty. And these mushrooms are just over a week old, so we figured might as well use them. That's the great thing, again, about this pasta dish, that you can just throw in the kitchen sink. You can throw in all old veggies that you have to get rid of them so that they do not go to waste.
Yeah. We like to do that a lot in the house. Like, we'll look in our refrigerator and go, okay, what's on its way out? What can we add? Like, what can we kind of put together? We do that a lot with, like, roasting vegetables. Like, if we have some squash or carrots or beets, we'll roast those all together in some olive oil and salt and pepper, and you just put them in the oven, and they come out, like, really, really yummy. We like to kind of cube them up so they're even size.
Yeah.
But those are always very tasty, especially in the fall.
Yeah. So these mushrooms are ready to go. I'm actually just going to add them to the bowl that we had the Romanesco in before. That way I'm going to be able to season them a touch.
I think, too, you know what? I think I do want to put the lid on this for just a moment.
Yeah.
Kind of give us a little bit of some steam action. Let these cook a little bit through.
So since you're doing that, I'm actually going to use a little touch of water, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, you might want to add a little bit of water in this to get the steam, like, really going. Not a whole lot. But it'll just kind of give them a little bit.
Yeah, 2 ounces, about 50 to 75 milliliters.
For our friends on the metric system.
It's just enough water to get the steam going.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're going to be kind of steaming them a little bit, just to get it all cooking, we're going to turn up the heat to medium-high.
Yep. Just cover that up. And you'll check every once in a while just to make sure that the bottom isn't burning with the higher flame. But you should be okay with the water as it cooks down.
So my mushroom medley is ready to go. I'm going to add a touch of olive oil, just about a teaspoon, a little salt and pepper. And that's ready.
Yep. And you tell me when you're ready for the pasta to go in.
So the pasta's going to take about 8 minutes. You can always just check if you're not sure. We kind of have it down where most of our pastas take about 8 minutes. But it'll always tell you on here, so just bring 5 quarts of water for a pound of pasta to a boil for 10 to 12 minutes or to desired tenderness. So I never go that long.
Yeah.
I'd always rather go way under when you're cooking a pasta. So if it's saying 10 to 12, I'm going to go
we usually go
of the
around
lower
8.
end, I'm going to go 2 minutes less.
We try to cook it just shy of al dente because it's going to end up cooking when you mix it with all the other ingredients, and once it's kind of cooking in the sauce, it's going to continue to cook. So you don't want it to be mushy when you put it in. If it's already like the perfect bite when you put it into the sauce, then it's just going to continue cooking and it's going to get really soft. So you want to get it when it still has a little bit of that bite to it. Then you add it, and once it cooks, then it'll be like the perfect consistency when you're ready to eat it. You could always stop the cook with cold water, but I don't know. I when you do that, I feel like the sauce doesn't really adhere to the pasta the same way. So.
So turn that up to a boil. And
yeah,
we'll,
I'm gonna put this up just a little bit higher now because, like we said, it's been kind of steaming away and boiling away here for a while. Before I put the pasta in, I am gonna add some regular kosher salt to make the water nice and salty. It's your only opportunity to season the pasta before it goes into what you're cooking. So you're gonna want to put like a big hearty amount of salt in your boiling water. Unlike Jimmy, I like to use an oven mitt so I don't burn myself. These pots are really great. These normal pots like this are awesome, but they get very, very hot. So you definitely don't want to touch this with your bare hand.
Not that hot. Touch.
No,
Touch.
please don't. Please don't try that at home. Please don't. Don't follow him. Follow him with the cooking ideas.
Do as she says, not as I do.
Don't follow him touching hot objects. I don't think our young baby's going to be learning those things from you. Okay, so I'm going to give this a nice amount of salt here. Again, we don't really measure, just kind of eyeball it. That looks like it's good to me. You want to make sure too that you put the water, the salt in before you add the pasta, like right before, because if you do this at the beginning, your water is going to take a really long time to boil. So you want to make sure it's boiled up already, then you add it in, then you add your pasta. So we're good with pasta.
You ready?
Yeah.
So, all right, so our Romanesco and cauliflower, it's a brand of cauliflower. Our Romanesco and onion is cooking down nicely. Now we're ready to really start to make this into a sauce. Timer so we don't forget on our pasta. 8 minutes. Good to go.
Yeah, give that a little bit of a stir, so that your pasta doesn't stick together. Got it?
No, I don't.
All right, I got it.
All right, so now our Romanesco is cooked down a little bit more. You can tell by taking your whatever you're using to stir and seeing if you can break it. So it's still got a little bite to it, which I want. I don't want it to get too soggy. Plus, we're going to be adding more liquid in our white wine and butter. So now we're ready to put in our garlic and our crushed red pepper. So I'm going to make a little pit right in the center. That's going to be the hottest part of our bowl, or of our pan rather. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of olive oil, just so it gives them something to cook down in. And then I'm going to toss in the garlic and then the crushed red pepper.
Sorry there, I lost the chat for a moment. So if you had a question, please ask it again in case we missed it. But yeah, this is looking good.
So I got my garlic. Now I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of crushed red pepper. It's probably a teaspoon.
About a teaspoon, yeah.
About a teaspoon. Now that that's in with a little olive oil, we're going to mix that together. And it's only going to need about 1 to 2 minutes to cook down. No more than that. Because my heat is at medium-high, and I do not want to burn the garlic. Once it's burned, there's no going back. It could always be a little bit under, and you know what? You're going to have the opportunity for it to cook through once I add the white wine. But you can't go back. No back in time. No traveling in time.
Alright, so this is cooking down. Again, this is going to be a really simple sauce with a little bit of white wine, butter, and oil. Like, it's really not, we like to have our pasta that way. We like to call this like kind of like a garlic and oil sauce, or maybe it's almost like similar to like what you would use in like a shrimp scampi with the white wine. So it's like very kind of light And with veggies, this tends to be better. I don't generally like to have like a marinara sauce with a bunch of veggies.
All right, the garlic's just about cooked down. I'm going to toss in my mushrooms. Scoop in all that goodness. Give that a nice toss through.
Can you hear that sizzle? I don't know if you can hear the sizzle like we can here, but it always makes me hungry. It's like Pavlov's dog. Once I hear that kind of sizzle, I know that the food is getting ready to be eaten.
All right, so we're just about ready to go there. I'm going to add my white wine in. So I'm doing just over a half a cup of white wine, which is 150 milliliters. Just toss that in. I'm going to make sure that I leave a lid off because I want the alcohol to cook off from here. Give that a nice mix. And then I'm going to finish it with butter once we're about ready to put the pasta in. We'll also be using some of the starchy cooking water.
Absolutely, we like to do that. It kind of just helps to bring the sauces together. And also, we're going to add some Parmesan cheese because we love to add that into pretty much everything that we have. So this is cooking. Our pasta is raring to go here too. A couple more minutes with that. So Soul on Fire wanted to know if we have a substitute for white wine.
Chicken stock.
Yes, you could use chicken stock. In a lot of recipes, you could also substitute beer, but if you don't want to go the alcohol route, you could use chicken stock or even a vegetable stock.
Yeah, you could use vegetable stock if you wanted to avoid the beef or
if you wanted to be more vegetarian friendly.
Yeah, it's running a pretty good place right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that simmer. It's been going for about 2 minutes. I want to add it for color.
Do you? For jalapeno?
Either one.
Sure. So he's throwing a little wrench into the recipe, but we have some peppers from our garden in our backyard. Small ones. We have a jalapeno, and we also have a little red bell pepper. So he wanted to add those in for some color. We could absolutely do that.
It's all right. But I think that pop of red is going to make it look really nice. So I'm going to do it.
Yeah, go for it. So Anastasia's asking what's our favorite sauce, red or white? Honestly, I probably prefer white. Because I love pasta. I don't know, this is a really tough one. I'm a big pasta person, so it really just depends on what we're in the mood to eat. But I do love a good red sauce. I really, really do. But like with certain foods, I prefer the white. Like I love a white sauce when you're having shrimp or clams or any type of seafood, mussels. But when it comes to eating, like when we used to eat beef and pork, you definitely want to go more of like the red sauce. With the lighter types of meat, you're going to go with like the white sauce.
Yeah, the white wines are going to go better with a lighter protein. So with a poultry, with the seafood. Your marinara is gonna be able to tend to, because I mean that's what a ragu is.
Yeah.
It's some sort of beef with a red sauce.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll make a vodka sauce here every now and again, but we do a lot of this kind of like olive oil base for sauce. And like if you watched the episode where we cooked the tuna puttanesca, that we just used a little bit of the plum tomatoes and kind of crushed them up. It wasn't like a full, robust red sauce, but we did add some tomatoes to it.
All right, so I'm throwing a total monkey wrench in Sally's nicely curated menu she has over there.
That's okay.
But look at that pop of red color. It's just, we eat with our eyes. So
it just does make it look a little prettier, doesn't it?
It does make it a little bit prettier.
And they're such small pieces that they're going to cook
up in this sauce.
pretty quickly. And also, if the pepper has a little bit of a bite, that's actually going to be kind of a nice thing. So you have a little bit of a different texture. This pasta only has like about 2 minutes left or so. I'm going to give it a taste. Oh, actually, probably about a minute. Let me give that a taste first.
I'm adding a little salt and pepper in here. Since I put the white wine in, it's been about 3 minutes, which 3 to 4 minutes is going to cook it all off. The alcohol, that's what you want to do. You want to cook off the alcohol. So there's actually no alcohol in this dish. The alcohol is cooked off. You're just left with the taste of the wine. The heat has cooked off all the alcohol. And you can do this a couple ways. If you just smell it, you'll be able to smell if there's still alcohol in there. Of course, you can take a taste.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love to take a taste?
Actually, I think that this pasta is going to need about another minute or so before I pull it. When we were eating the longer noodles, the last couple of times we made pasta with, like, we had fettuccine or linguine, I feel like those took a little bit shorter time to cook through because they're thinner. These are a little bit thicker, so it's taking a little bit longer. But only about another minute or so.
Yeah.
Adding some more butter.
I'm going to add some butter now to thicken up this sauce. So I'm going to add just about 2 heaping tablespoons. Yeah, it's just going to thicken up the sauce very nicely.
I wish you could smell this too. It really, really smells good in here. Every time I watch a cooking show, I do think the same thing. I'm like, I wish we had smell-o-vision, but at the same time, it would probably be bad because you would just want to eat all the time. We have the cooking channel on a lot in this house, so we would be snacking a whole lot.
Protein going in. The turkey kielbasa, which is already pre-cooked, so it's just going to add some flavor to it.
Give that a stir.
Yep. I have turned the heat way down because I don't want to overcook anything while we're waiting for our pasta to finish cooking. And it's just really coming together. Yep. I'm really glad that I put in those red peppers. So, as you can see, the red just added a nice little pop of color. I just felt that it was too...
Looked a little blah.
A little blah, yeah. I'm trying to think of a better word for blah, but it did look a little blah. It was too monotone without that pop of red. So I always like to have a variety of colors going.
Yeah, a little bit of brightness. Like we said before, you eat with your eyes too, so you want the dish to be pretty. And adding that little red is nice. It's kind of festive.
Yeah. And we're using stuff from the garden. Get a little heat from this jalapeno. So you might be asking, like, oh wow, this is a red jalapeno? So all peppers, when they're first ripened, are going to be green, and as you allow them to ripen more, they're going to change color. So this is a jalapeno that I just let go a little bit longer on the plant itself, and now it's red.
This is ready to go.
Awesome.
Do you want to do it, or are you going to add some starchy water, or?
I'll do the pasta and then the water after.
So why don't you do that? Somebody was just saying, somebody mentioned that it was a good trick to add the butter in there, and it definitely was. We actually got a tip from a friend who was watching the episode where we did the chicken cutlets the other night, and if you remember, one of the batches that we made, the chicken got a little bit too brown, or it got a little bit darker than we had wanted it to get.
KB, my incompetence.
So they suggested to add a little bit of butter to the oil in the pan, and that helps to prevent that overcooking in there, or that burning, that char. So that was a good tip. We didn't know. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, you do.
So if you could see that over here, we'll bring this pot over once he finishes kind of mixing it all together, but it looks really, really yummy and delicious now. We have everything kind of getting evenly coated with the sauce there. So remember, we had some onions, garlic, romanesco, mushrooms, 2 different types.
Oyster, and
then the other one's a question mark. I don't really remember. The turkey kielbasa, and we have penne pasta. Oh, and we also added some butter and white wine to this sauce, and it kind of thickened up nicely. What we're gonna add to before we actually serve it. Is we're going to top it off with some Parmesan cheese, because who doesn't love some cheese? Yep, and he's going to add a little bit of that starchy pasta water. Honestly, we do that for most things that we cook. It just kind of helps to bring the sauce together, kind of line everything up.
So I added a 1/4 cup, and you're going to want to do a little bit at a time. You'll just be able to kind of eyeball your sauce. So this isn't a pasta that's going to leave a ton of sauce at the bottom. So it's not going to be overly sauced. It's just going to be nicely coated. So that starchy pasta water is going to allow your sauce to coat all of your pasta.
Let me move this out of the way here. So we could get started with plating it up. So you could really get a look at it. Good spot. There we go. Good spot.
So I can judge the sauce right now if it needs any seasoning. So this is at the point where you want to taste. So I can grab one of my Romanescos.
Good.
Tastes good. Want to try a piece of pasta?
Sure. That spoon's probably not the best one to pick up. You can see it's still kind of piping hot here.
Steaming.
Good.
Yeah.
And you know what? I could actually taste the pepper in there too. So I think that was a smart choice to add that in towards the end there.
Yeah, and at this point, if I felt that my sauce was too thin, I could add a little bit more butter to thicken it up.
Right
If I felt it was too thick, I could add a little more starchy pasta water. But yeah, like Sally just said, at this point, it's actually we're in a good place. So we actually don't need to add anything to it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like now. So there it is.
So it's nice and pretty. You could see that green from the Romanesco. You could see the red from the peppers. And the yummy, yummy turkey kielbasa. So, you know, the other thing is we make dishes, varieties of this, like all the time, depending on what we have. Like you could certainly use something like chicken or shrimp in something like this, or even a different type of the sausage, like we said. So it's really up to you and your preference, but we had the turkey kielbasa in the fridge, and we thought, all right, let's make this into a pasta. We do that with a lot of things. We like pasta in this house. We love starches. We like rice. We like pasta. We like breads. You can never really go wrong. That looks pretty. That looks pretty. Hey, Leah. Thanks for joining us. It's okay if you come late. It's all right. Try to watch the playback on Twitch. And also, I've been adding these videos onto our YouTube channel, so you could always watch them there, too.
So I'm going to add a little Parmesan cheese over the top, which is just to your preference. I am heavy-handed.
He likes to put a lot of cheese. I won't complain. Yeah, you can see some of our puppies. I think who's on the camera right now? Oh, there's Meatball. Meatball, and then you can see Hogan behind him. And Rigatoni just passed by in the back there. So are you getting something for garnish?
Yeah.
He is. He's going to go outside. He's probably going to get some parsley, I think. I would say some parsley. We have a little bit of, I wouldn't say we have a massive garden, but we have some things in our backyard that we like to grow. Like we have some herbs and we have a couple different vegetables. And now that it's the end of the season, you want to start using these up before the weather turns and you can't anymore.
So I just went and grabbed a little Italian parsley.
I'll just chop that up, a little rinse, a little chop, and then we'll just put that on top for garnish, and it'll be done there. Does anybody have any questions about how we made this meal? Oh, we love his little neck rolls, too. He's actually lost some weight, but those neck rolls are part of his genes.
They absolutely are.
When he lost the weight, we would start calling him Turkey Meatball.
Goes well with our turkey kielbasa.
Yeah. I think that maybe one of the next times we do a pasta dish, maybe we'll do shrimp or something like that. We haven't made shrimp, and we eat a lot of shrimp in this house.
We should make a sauce one day, like a Sunday sauce.
Oh, sure. We could make a sauce from scratch. That would be fun. We could do that. If you have any recommendations for us about things you want to see on the channel, let us know. We could try. We won't say that it'll be perfect, but if we've not cooked it before, but we could certainly try.
Yeah. We could definitely try and make a Goodfellas style Sunday sauce.
Yeah.
All right, so just some fresh ground parsley going over the top.
Yeah, and it just gives it that little pop of color again, like we said. Nice.
And a little earthiness to it.
Yes, so many puppies. We have lots of puppies in this house. And if we hadn't just had a baby, we probably would have another one.
Probably.
He's always trying to bring another dog.
Always trying to get another doggy in here.
Remind us one day to tell you the story of how we got Rigatoni. We always wanted to. I can tell you really quickly now, as he's showing you that. But we have our 3 dogs. We had 2 dogs together, and right after we got married, my dad saw a post of a litter of puppies through the SNAR website, which is the organization I was talking about earlier, where we adopt our dogs from. And there was a litter of puppies, and he really, really wanted to get the runt of that litter. And he messages Jimmy about it, and he tells us, oh, we have to go meet these puppies, and you guys should get a puppy. And I'm thinking, no way, we're going to be going on a 3-week honeymoon soon. Like, there's no way we can get another dog now. And lo and behold, they're side texting with each other, and I'm not in the loop, and they're making plans to go meet these dogs. So, of course, what happens, we meet the dogs, but I said, I don't want a puppy, I want the mom, because she's going to have a hard time getting adopted, and so we adopted her. After we met her, she was like an angel. She looked like our meatball, and once they met, it was kismet, so that's the story of getting our rigatoni girl. And also, we didn't adopt them in New Jersey. SNAR is located in Worcester, New York. They're pretty close by to where we live, and we've just adopted dogs through them for many years, so that's kind of our go-to rescue. You could definitely find them on Instagram. They're called SNAR Northeast. You want to make sure that you look up SNARRNE, because there's different branches of that rescue organization, so the one that you want is NE, just for clarification. But also, if you do want to learn more about how we adopted our dogs, you can go onto our 3 Spicy Pups Instagram page, and the Dodo did a feature on Rigatoni's adoption story about a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, about a year ago, because it was right as her puppies turned a year old. I submitted her story as part of a contest, and she won. So it was really cool. They came here, they shot some video of our dogs, interviewed us. It was really, really neat to share her story. So cool. All right, so we're done here. You got a good look at the plates. I'll be putting the recipe up on our Instagram page later in the evening after we put the baby to bed.
Updated since I changed.
Yeah.
Mid-meal.
Yeah. Hope you join us again. We'll see you next Wednesday. So have a good night, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care. Oh, wait.
Hold on. Don't go yet.
Don't go yet. I'm going to raid Cup of Kiwi's channel. Bear with me a second, though, because I don't know exactly how to do this. So sorry that I didn't give you a heads up, Kiwi.
Cup of Kiwi. Well, we'll hang while you're setting up.
Get yourself all sorted up, and I'll figure out how to do this. Give me a sec.
So while Sally's filling that up, figuring that out, when we went to go see the puppies, we had like this awesome, straight out of a movie Dodo moment. When we first met Rigatoni's puppies, they were staying at this woman's house, and all 10 of the puppies and Rigatoni were in her garage. And there was a bunch of us that went. It was the 2 of us, her parents, her uncles, and cousin. And as we walked up, she said, oh, okay, just go down to the garage. And she opened the garage door, and we walked in. There was a large gated area. And we could see Riggy. We could see the mama. We couldn't see the puppies. But as the door opened, the puppies woke up.
Yep.
And they all dopily just came like running towards the opposite end of this gated area. It was a large gated area, probably like 10 by 10. And so as we walked in, we were just greeted by 10 little adorable puppies.
Yeah, it was amazing. It
just
was
a priceless moment.
Scene out of a movie. But we could spend a lot of time talking about our dogs. And maybe one night we can do that. You can ask us some questions about our dogs and about being dog owners. But here you go. We're gonna say farewell again and go ahead and read Cup of Kiwi's channel. So bye everyone.
Bye. Ciao.
Take care.